Well, not the kitchen, as you can tell. I'm actually in my son's bedroom, but he is still in university. He's due back in a few weeks. So, and I've got a lovely view of the river here, but you won't see it because the camera's pointing at me. Anyway, this video is sort of personal, but it's actually also in light of events recently. It really does strike home. This is about this guy here. This guy here. Right, this is about this boy here. Now, his name is Jonathan, and he was raised as a Jehovah's Witness for 16 years from birth. Unlike myself and my brother, who, well, I think I must have been about 10 or 9 when we got into the lies. But he was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. And that's a still from a ITV or ITN YouTube, and I'll put it in the description, a YouTube link about the assault on Helmand Provence in June 2009, and I'll tell you how he got there. Basically, he was raised as Jehovah's Witness. He has 2 younger brothers and a younger sister, and his dad, who's my brother, sort of, if there's any problems anywhere in relation to the family, his idea was that if there's any bad influences in school or whatever, his idea was just to move and just get them moving, because he wanted to keep his wee witnessy family all together. So he moved from Blackpool to Yorkshire to somewhere else in Yorkshire, and eventually ended up in the Outer Hebrides and a place called the Isle of Lewis, then the Isle of Harris. And then something went wrong, and next thing is they all sort of didn't have anywhere to live. And I lived, the house that we lived in southwest Scotland was quite big, so they all came to live with us until, and I think Jonathan must have been about 15 at the time, 14, 15, something like that, maybe 15. And then they all moved across the Solway. That's the body of water that separates the western part of England with Scotland. They moved to Carlisle, and they were at 2 addresses over there. And then something happened, I don't know what happened, but Jonathan became about 16, and him and his dad were not getting on, and it just came to the point that they just couldn't live in the same house. And then of course my brother wanted to protect his wee witnessy family from the bad influence of Jonathan, so Jonathan came back to live with us again, and he lived with us, you know, for a wee while until he got his own place in a town called Annan, because by this time he'd stopped going to the meetings. We tried to get him an apprenticeship as a builder, but unfortunately the person he was with was a bit of the guy who was teaching was a bit of an arsehole, and it just didn't work out for him, and eventually just ended up dossing around in his flat in Annan, got a girlfriend, and then, you know, she introduced him to some major league arseholes, and then it ended up being that we got a phone call by the housing association who'd put him up, because I was a guarantor, saying potentially he's going to get evicted because the carry on, and he's got the flat. There was a lot of older people in the vicinity, and I just thought, well, God, you know, that he needs to do something with his life, and so I suggested that he join the army. At that time, the war in Iraq had ended, and although although America was in Afghanistan, there wasn't any high numbers of British people there. A couple of hundred, that was it. Nothing big had happened. So I thought it was a safe bet. I thought he'll join the army. He will get some sort of structure. He will then learn, hopefully, a trade, a skilled trade, like being an engineer or something. I just thought it was the best move for him. He'll get accommodation wherever he gets. He'll get going training. He'll get fitter, and this is what I saw as the perfect plan. And so he joined the army. He went out to his passing out parade. He was in the Catterick garrison in Yorkshire. and he was going on training exercises in Wales and other places, and other places in Scotland. And I thought, this is fantastic. You know, it's worked out for him. You know, he's enjoying his time in the army, and he'll leave, good pension, blah 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 blah. And the next thing is, of course, is that there was this coalition to invade the Helmand Provence, and all of a sudden, in the spring of 2009, Britain sent 3,000 British troops into Helmand Provence. There was 700 from Holland, but Britain threw in 3,000, and Jonathan ended up being one of those sent there. And when you watch the report, you'll actually see that the guy speaking, who is part of his unit, they're in some sort of fortified village. They'd already lost 2 people, and they lost other people. Jonathan did 2 tours of Afghanistan, and while he was away, I was down as the next of kin, not his father. So if my phone rung and I didn't recognise the number, I really panicked. And once I was driving, and the BBC News or the ITV News used to announce, used to give out the names of the British troops who'd been killed. And one day I was driving, and I said, and here's the names of the British troops who'd been killed, and it says Jonathan. And I went, oh my God, please don't tell me. And luckily it wasn't my Jonathan, but it was somebody else's Jonathan. Somebody else had just lost their son, their grandson, their brother, their boyfriend, you know, their husband, their brother. And that's how it was going on. This went on for about 4 or 5 years, I think it was. The Battle of the Helmand Provence, it just went on and on and on. Luckily, Jonathan did 2 tours and he came out, and now he's in Belfast. And what's happening now in Ukraine is, I'm just hoping that Britain doesn't get involved and sends troops in. I hope it doesn't happen, because I'd hate the thought that he ends up having to be in conflict again and have to hold a gun. But anyway, what happened, what the anniversary is today is of one of the things that really made an impact in me is that 3 years on from the invasion of the Helmand Provence, there were 6 British soldiers who were killed at the same time when their vehicle was hit by an IED, and unfortunately a lot of the vehicles were not fit for purpose, which the British troops were using, and it hit the vehicle. They had live ammo inside the vehicle that caught fire, so if the explosion didn't kill them, the fire did, and the 6 of them died. And it was like the biggest loss of life, I think it was, for British troops for whenever, I can't remember. And it was really, really sad. And literally when I heard the news, I just thought, I felt like I must do something about this artistically. So their relatives gave a little short obituary on each one of the young lads that were lost, and so I used their words for a song. And today, bizarrely, is the 10th anniversary of their deaths, and it's not a song I recorded it once on video, and that was it. I've never properly recorded it as in what I can do. It's a song I never ever really play, but because of the events in the Ukraine, the same thing's happening. There are young guys who are obeying commands of their superiors, and they are going into battle, into war, probably not knowing why they're doing it. I'm sure the Russian soldiers don't know what they're doing. The Ukraine soldiers obviously know what they're doing, but again, people are needlessly dying just because they're under the command under the command of other people. So it's really pertinent again today. I only thought about the song because of all of a sudden the war in Europe, and it brought home to me that they're just how close it is now. And then I just checked when I wrote the song, and then all of a sudden I realised, my God, it's actually the 10th anniversary today. I realised this 3 days ago, I think it was. So anyway, I've put the video the song that I wrote and put up on YouTube 10 years ago. That's in the description. But also I'm going to put in the news report of my nephew in the description as well. And I literally, at the moment, I'm feared to put the news on, because each time it's just absolutely heartbreaking. Every time you see something, it's just absolutely awful. I don't know when it's going to end. It is heartbreaking. It really is. And it just puts a lot of other things that have been happening, if you know what I mean, completely in perspective, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.